gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video on the Toque de Fútbol channel. Today we're talking Champions League football, and specifically we're talking Real Madrid versus Marseille. So yesterday, if you guys were on stream, you guys heard me do my picks for all the Champions League games, and in this game, I did pick Real Madrid to win, but me and probably other people thought that Real Madrid were going to win very convincingly, and unfortunately, that's just not how the game went today. And I think that's more merit on Marseille than it is more fault on Real Madrid, if I'm being completely honest. The game that Marseille planned throughout the week was a tactical game, a game that surprised me because they didn't make any tactical changes throughout the game, even when it was required, even when they probably should have. They kept to their game plan, and I respect the team that stays to the system they want to play. Let's break it down. What did I see, and why did Real Madrid win 2-1 at the Bernabeu? A game that came with a lot of controversy, as most Real Madrid games always. There is never a lack of controversy in a Real Madrid game. A game that probably exceeded expectations for most people, like I said, and a game where we saw our Marseille team who came in with a idea, a system of wanting to play from the back. And it almost seemed like they were trying to invite Real Madrid's hard press, which we all know now with Xabi Alonso, Real Madrid tends to be a high pressuring team, a high pressing team. And Marseille seemed to try to use that for their advantage. They always try to get the ball from Rulli or from their back line and play it out with multiple passes, multiple triangular passes. Now, for most of the game, it honestly did not work out. Not work out because a lot of times they lost the ball. They weren't able to break that pressure. But I see the idea. The idea was to try to get that block of pressure up as high as possible and exploit that space that you get when a team presses you. Exploit those channels so that you can do a quick counterattack. Like I said, it didn't really work out for Marseille that much because they really gave the ball away a lot, and they were giving it away to three very dangerous men. Mbappe, who is on a tear, who scored 2 goals today, both penalties, and we'll get to that as well. And then the two wingers, Mastantuono and Rodrigo. I want to talk about Mastantuono and Rodrigo, and at the same time, I want to talk about Vinicius, because there is a conversation to be had here. I have always been a Mastantuono critic since the day he left River Plate and since the day he signed for Real Madrid. Not because he's Argentinian, but because of his age. I simply did not think that he had the talent yet, or that he had the conviction to play for Real Madrid, and especially not start for Real Madrid. I figured that he was going to follow foot just like Endrick, where he got some minutes, and depending on his level of play, then he might earn more minutes. But Mastantuono really showed out today. I think today I saw a brave and bold Mastantuono, a Mastantuono who constantly asked for the ball, a Mastantuono who every time he got the ball drove at the defender, tried to win his one-on-ones, and even when there was multiple defenders in front of him, like in one play in the first half where he gets the ball at the top of the box, he goes between 3 players and nearly almost goes by himself and scores the goal. If it wasn't for Rulli coming out and essentially just saving the shot. But Mastantuono today proved to me that regardless of his age, he has a lot of courage and he has a lot of confidence, and I think that's very important for a young player, a player of his caliber who might shoulder the weight of a country once Messi retires, and rightfully so, because what I saw today, Mastantuono is a player that can reach that next level of elite soccer players. Rodrigo, on the other hand, is a player that, in my opinion, has been heavily disrespected by Real Madrid, the club, and Real Madrid fans themselves. A player that's been in the rumor circles pretty much all summer, all start of the season, up until pretty much the transfer window ended, that he was going to leave, go to England. But he was very dedicated to staying at Real Madrid, and he spoke to Xabi Alonso himself that he wanted to play left wing. He told him specifically, I don't want to play right wing, I want to play left wing. That made it an issue because, of course, we know Vinicius Jr. is the starting left wing for Real Madrid normally. Now, Vinicius Jr. has not been the same player he was in his Ballon d'Or campaign that he had a couple seasons ago. Ever since that campaign, he reverted back to the Vinicius Jr. we came to know in the first 2 seasons for Real Madrid. A Vinicius Jr. that lacks conviction, a Vinicius Jr. that can't win his one-on-ones, a Vinicius Jr. that tries to do too much on his own, tries to prove that he's the man, and just doesn't produce enough output for that type of player. He's become that player again. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence. I don't know if it's an issue of him trying to show out and trying to one up Mbappe on the team. I'm not sure, but Vinicius has not been the same. And after what I saw from Rodrigo today, who once again was a player that demanded the ball, he always wanted the ball on his feet, and is a player who plays for the team. Yes, he tries to go on his own. Yes, he creates his own chances. Yes, he takes his own shot. But for the most part, he's always looking for that linkage of play, and I think that's where he beats Vinicius Jr. I think Vinicius Jr. at this point in his career, he wants to be the man, and it's causing him problems on Real Madrid. And he's not the same player. And I personally do think that Rodrigo should be the starting left wing for Real Madrid after what I saw today. And same thing goes for Maso Antonio. I think he should be the starting right winger for Real Madrid. I don't think Brahim Diaz comes close to his talent. And Rodrigo right now, every time he plays with conviction, he plays with confidence, and he plays like the type of player that deserves to be out there. Not to speak about Guler, because I think Guler didn't have his greatest game today, but Xabi Alonso has done a great job with Guler, and he has brought Guler to a different level this season, and he's really showing that he can be the number 10 for Real Madrid. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens once Bellingham is full fit, if Guler will get relegated back to the bench, or if Bellingham will take a different position. Maybe they'll move Guler to the wing. We'll see. But overall, I thought Real Madrid played better than Marseille in the first 30 minutes. Now, Marseille did open up the scoreline with a goal, a beautiful goal by Timothy Weah, where Housen plays I wouldn't call it a lazy ball, but plays a complicated ball to Guler, and Guler just falls asleep, and he loses it to Mason Greenwood. Greenwood drives down the field straight at the goalie. Both center backs have to collapse in on him, and Timothy Weah makes a great overlapping run behind him, gives Mason Greenwood a great channel, passes it on to Timothy Weah, and he just powers the shot right past Courtois, 1-0 Marseille, in a goal that comes against the current of play because Real Madrid was playing better, like I said. They had more opportunities to score, and if it wasn't for Rulli, honestly, this game probably would have been won by Real Madrid by a large margin. So I do think that Rulli played a great game today. He had multiple saves, he had a lot of one-on-ones, and he made the saves he needed to make at the end of the day. After Weah's goal, Marseille leads for only 7 minutes, because then Rodrigo, once again, with the level of play he's been on, he gets a ball in the box, cuts inside, and I don't know what Kondogbia is doing really. He sticks his leg out, and Rodrigo gets knocked over. It's a clear pen, and it's not the controversial penalty that we'll talk about later, but this is a clear pen, and Kiki Mbappe, who's been on another level, steps up and coolly slots it into the left side of the goal. Rulli comes close to it, but there's just too much power behind it, and it's 1-1. I think it's important to talk about Marseille and the game that they were playing. Like I said, they were dedicated to the system. They wanted to play from outside. They wanted to build their play from the back, and they kept doing it no matter what. Even though they were losing the ball a lot of times, they were still sticking to the system. I respect the team that sticks to the plan that they prepared for this game. So I really got to hand it to Marseille. I think they came into the Bernabeu and played a much better game than people expected. Now in the second half, this is where the referee controversy starts. First of all, I want to talk about the red card for Carvajal in minute 72. I think this is 100% a red card. I don't know how Rulli gets in Carvajal's head for a player that has so much experience, a player that has played on this stage so many times, a player that has so many Champions League titles. To lose his head to a goalkeeper like this was shocking to see, especially after he came on as a sub after Trent went out in the first 5 minutes of the game. I think he made a mistake here, but I think the red card was shown not because of how aggressive the headbutt actually was, but because of the intent of aggression. The head jerk towards Rulli was enough for the ref to give a straight red, and I think it's the correct call. Now, the controversy comes from the ref in the 79th minute, 78th minute, where Vinicius gets the ball inside after a 1-2. He's lining up his shot, and a great defensive slide tackle by, I believe it was Medina, the center back, that wins the ball If you look here, he wins the ball, but on his way down from the slide tackle, his hand hits the ball accidentally, of course, accidentally. There's no reason why he would put his hand out there. I think it's just a natural flow of his hand and the way his body is moving forward with the slide tackle, and the ref somehow calls that a penalty. I completely do not agree with the call, obviously. I think the issue comes with handballs in the box is that we still don't know what actually is a handball in the box and what should be marked as a penalty, what should be called as a penalty. I think it's always left up to interpretation. And in this case, I think the player makes a great tackle. He's not even trying to play the ball with his hand. He's simply going with his feet. He wins the ball. He's already on his way up too when the ref calls it. Like he had no intention of playing it with the ball. Where else is he supposed to put his hands? He can't put it in front of him. He can't put it behind him. It's just a natural positioning. I don't get it. I don't get it, and it makes no sense because if you're gonna call that when the ball's not headed towards target, then how come he didn't call the one where Militao blocks it off his elbow? I think it was a shot from Aubameyang that's actually going on target. Now I'm not saying that's a pen either. I actually don't think that's a pen, but I want to hear the ref's criteria on why that was a penalty because the ball was not headed towards target, so there's no reason why he should call it for that, and it's not intentional. And the player wins the ball cleanly, so you can't say it was because it was a foul. No, I just simply don't think that should be a penalty. And I think that Real Madrid fans and Real Madrid, the club themselves, need to stop crying about refereeing decisions in the Liga because they are always benefited by the referee as well. So this mask, this costume that Real Madrid is trying to play, they're trying to wear as a victim of bad referees. I think it's a bad costume they're trying to play because they benefit a lot more from refereeing than they don't. So at the end of the day, Kiki steps up again, and I think that Rulli could have done better. He probably could have saved the pen, but just too much power past it, and Mbappe reaches 50 goals in uh, less than 2 full seasons, really, which is highly impressive. And Real Madrid, even with 10 men, once again find a way to stay solid defensively and win the game. Now, just one more thing I want to mention about Marseille that really bugged me. Like I said, I respect them sticking to the game plan, but at some point, you have to change the way you're playing, especially after Mbappe scores his penalty to put Real Madrid 2-1. It's time to play direct. It's time to take the game against Madrid. It's time to take the game to Madrid. Why are they still playing their 1-2s, their triangle passes when they should be playing more direct football? I understand it's because of the system, but at what point do you change the system? I think it was at that point, and it was frustrating to watch. It was frustrating to watch because they were up one man and they were not playing to that advantage. So it was tough. But at the end of the day, Real Madrid get a complicated win, an unconvincing win. At the end of the day, the most important thing is to get the win, and they get a win at home, and they start their Champions League campaign with a W. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about the game. What did you guys think about the red card? What did you guys think about that second penalty call? Personally, I still don't think it was a penalty, and I mean, I just gotta live with it like everyone else does, right? Don't forget to like, comment, of course, and subscribe for more content from Toque de Fútbol.